During the first days of testing in Barcelona, the Red Bull Racing, the team of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, and all other F1 teams had to deal with porpoising, as almost all the cars bounced across the road. After 5 Grands Prix, other teams are still finding it difficult to surmount this challenge, but the Red Bull is different, as the Austrians appears to have solved the porpoising troubles. How did they achieve this? Was it by accident? Have other teams taken a cue from them? The only way to find out is to stay tuned, so ensure you watch till the end. On the last day of the winter tests in Barcelona, the Austrians brought an update that put an end to the bouncing on the road. With this upgrade, 3/4 of a second was saved. Prior to this time, new technical regulations have been introduced for this season. One of these changes have been the ground effect philosophy. The downforce is now generated by aerodynamics below the car rather than on the chassis. This ground effect philosophy has an implication. Whenever the cars are on high speeds, the airflow underneath the car can get restricted. This is simply because the space was not enough for the air to pass through the space between the ground and the floor of the car. If this happens, the floor stops generating downforce, and the car springs back up to its normal ride height. However, it immediately starts accumulating air again and is pushed back down, only for the cycle to be repeated. This situation is referred to as porpoising because it is similar to a porpoise that is oscillating between surfacing and submerging. This condition causes a lot of discomfort for the drivers, as Lance Stroll claimed that it rattles your brain quite a bit. After the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, George Russell reported that the bouncing, it really takes your breath away. "It's the most extreme I've ever felt it," Russell said. "I really hope we find a solution, and I hope every team struggling with the bouncing finds a solution, because it's not sustainable for the drivers to continue. This is the first weekend I've truly been struggling with my back, and almost like chest pains from the severity of the bouncing." The teams are not only faced with the task of eradicating this porpoising issue, but they also have to do so within a budget of $140 million for this season, which is already down by $5 million from last season. Red Bull have been able to reduce the pressure on the world champion, Max Verstappen, and his teammate Sergio Perez, as they will not have to worry too much. The Austrians surmounted this challenge by providing upgrades to the side pods and underbody from where the aerodynamic now takes over. This upgrade was estimated by Automotor und Sport to cause a meteoric 0.7 of a second. Some teams reported in the German publication that Adrian Newey's design was not originally targeted at solving the porpoising problem. However, it ended up being the much-needed solution. Red Bull also has plans for weight. Their present weight of 813 kilograms is above the limit with 15 kilograms. Dr. Helmut Marko explained, "We are currently more than 10 kilos heavier than Ferrari. In terms of lap time, you are already talking about a loss of 0.3", said the Red Bull advisor. The RB18 finished late, as we were in the title race right through to the end last year. Updates are coming for the upcoming Grand Prix. Hopefully we can stay ahead of Ferrari now." Now, one question that has been resonating on everybody's mind is, could the resolution really have been an accident? Engineers normally use trial and error methods to resolve problems. However, this couldn't have been the case because the teams have budget restrictions. So any attempt by the designers have to be targeted. In addition, Mercedes have also made it known that porpoising is a very complicated problem, which cannot be fixed by simply raising the ride height of the car. This therefore lets us know that for Red Bull to have effectively solved the problem, they must have done it intentionally. We also have to take into consideration Adrian Newey, whose designs have in the past inspired 9 Constructors' Championships, which consisted of Williams, McLaren, and Red Bull. With Newey's track record, it is hard to believe that this kind of rectification can come as a mistake from him. How was Red Bull able to handle this problem? On the RB18, changes were made to the side pods and floor. The floor was altered so that it will be able to reduce the amount of porpoising. Looking at the floor, 2 notches are visible. These notches are perpendicular to the side edge of the floor. In between, an edge-shaped part of the floor is used, which should make the side skirts more effective. These side skirts, which are created by a vortex of air, close off the floor to the rear. This reduces the pressure difference under the car, which normally plays into the hands of porpoising. Red Bull thus seems to have solved the annoying problem of porpoising, while Mercedes still suffer from it. However, on the final day of winter testing, Mercedes appear to be less affected after raising the car's ride height. This, though, is always at the expense of the amount of downforce the car generates. The Ferrari is another team that also seems to have combated the porpoising problem. On the second day in Bahrain, the F1 7-5 featured a revised floor, featuring a long, knife-shaped profile on the side. As the profile rises a little towards the inside, a long groove is created between the raised edge and the bodywork. That knife-shaped profile is reinforced with some metal clips that are often seen on the front wings as well, jumping from element to element. These clips are needed to counteract deformation at high speed, as this can weaken the effect. The profile ends in an area where there used to be a sort of finger to regulate the airflow in front of the rear wheels, but that finger has been missing since the second day of testing. It is not incorrect to say that this solution, which should have the same effect as Red Bull's floor, was inspired by a similar device featured on the floor of the McLaren, a team that seemed to have porpoising fully under control already in Barcelona. Since Red Bull and Ferrari have been able to deal fairly with the porpoising issue, this has put them ahead in the 2022 season. On the other hand, the Mercedes have been having a tough time. This is one of the reasons why Red Bull was able to give them such a huge gap this season. The German team have not been at their best this season. Notwithstanding, Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko is positive that if Mercedes fixes the porpoising issue, they will be back in the championship fight. According to Marko, most of the new regulations affects the chassis side, and coincidentally, this was what Red Bull nailed before the season. Now with the change of chassis and engine, the differences are not so big. Mercedes can no longer click, and suddenly it's a party for them. But the team are very well positioned and also have some really important people in the chassis area, said Marko. With that, we have come to the end of today's video. We hope that you liked the video, and it would mean a lot if you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you'll know when we release a new video explaining some novelty or interesting stuff for F1. As a growing channel, we'd really appreciate your honesty and critiques, so we like to read your comments and upgrade ourselves with every video passing by.